Welcome back to the Rotten Rewind podcast with Ill Fortune and
Enokh Xmortiz.
Damn right. We're here to talk about vintage retro horror up to everything we got going on nowadays. And you know what? We got some pretty fun stuff in store for today.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're gonna dive into the macabre, if you will.
The macabre. It's my favorite word. It really bugs me when people pronounce it wrong.
Yeah, there's a movie called Macabre. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I think it's a 70s movie from Italy.
Seen a trailer for it. Haven't seen it.
Okay, yeah. Well, when I had bought the DVD, I was probably 16, and I was like, "What is the name of this? Macabre or Macabre?" And then I was like, "Oh, Macabre." Yeah.
Macabre. Yeah. Yeah. No, I watched this one movie. It's more of a kind of a documentary where they show previews for horror movie, like the 50 worst horror movies, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't remember if that was on there or not, but just like watching the trailers for them and shit, seeing all these old 80s, 90s trailers, it was pretty cool. And I found some pretty fun movies from it. So
you need to check out that. Everyone watching too, go and watch the documentary series In Search of Darkness. All 3 parts. I mean, sure, they're 4 hours long, but they are worth every second.
I love that documentary series. It actually might have been from that. You can watch part 2 and 3 on Shudder, but they pulled part 1. It's not on there anymore.
I'm gonna try to get them on DVD. That's what I need.
They're a couple $100 to get them. They're pretty expensive, but they're worth it. They have like all the king fucking actors and directors and just everybody in the industry that's worth hearing from, all in one well-produced documentary. And they're working on a 4th one right now about the 90s.
Yeah, that team who's putting that together, hats off to them. They are doing a huge justice for all of us horror fans.
I agree 100%. They were actually advertising, trying to hire composers for this new one. I seen it on Facebook, yeah.
Bro, you didn't apply?
I thought about it. I really did.
You should, dude. Like, you should totally be like, yo, what's up? Man, you could cook it up, dude.
That's like my specialty, awesome. 90s horror, man. That's like all I do for my music. So, yeah, I mean, it's on my to-do list. We're moving right now, as you know. We're packing everything up. Beyond the camera, that whole side of my studio is like torn down. I left all this stuff up. But yeah, we're in the process of getting everything packed up. So anyways, get this. I wanted to bring this up quick. Today, there was a post, and I think it's bullshit. I think it's a fake post. But it's about a new a new series on HBO Max called Fred, directed by Rob Zombie, about the backstory of Freddy Krueger, starring, I think his name is DJ Qualls or something, that guy that, he's from a lot of shit. He's from Z Nation. He's like that scrawny kind of kid that, he's from a lot of shit. I can't think of any other movies off the top of my head, but
don't know the actor off the top of my head either.
You would know him if I showed him to you. Irrelevant. I think the whole post is bullshit. Everybody's buying into it. It has like 20,000 likes on it right now, and if
it is true, I will back it and I will watch it. Just because I know Robert Englund probably isn't gonna be down to do it, and plus, he can't if it's a backstory. It's a younger version. I mean, I 100% will back it just because I like Rob Zombie and I like his approach to films. Maybe not so much the Munsters, but I enjoy his other works.
The special effects on the face of it, because it shows his face on the cover where it says Fred, it looks kind of like the first makeup from the first movie, but a little more tame, like less spaghetti and meatballs going on, less pizza face.
See, I remember a few years back, there was this movie called England or something like that, or Kruger. Yeah, not England, what am I saying? It's called Kruger, and it was like a fan-made movie about the backstory.
I seen that, yeah. The actor they got for that was pretty good, actually.
They should get him if they're doing that dude. I mean, it was believable. You know what I'm saying? He looked the part to where I was like, okay, that could be a young Robert Englund, and wow, that was really good.
I agree. And now there's another fan flick coming out that is a sequel to A New Nightmare.
Womp Stomp?
Yeah, I think so. And it has the original actor from A New Nightmare, the kid that played Dylan.
Womp Stomp films. Those dudes are awesome.
Mm-hmm. And so Dylan's coming back to reprise his role in the film. It actually looks pretty high production. I'm actually kind of excited to see it.
Yeah, and it's got that T-Rex on it, on the cover.
Yeah. Yep. All right, yeah, getting into it, man. Let's see what we got to talk about today. We are discussing, I picked this topic out, our dream team for a horror flick. And we're talking preferred director, writer, composer, lead actor / villain, and the setting. And shit, we'll even throw in special effects artist.
Let's do it.
All right, I want to hear from you first, Enokh. What do you got for us?
All right, so we'll start off with the director. For me, this is one that most of you guys probably don't know, but might know. Yoshihiro Nishimura. He is one of my favorite directors of all time. He is known for Tokyo Gore Police, Frankenstein Girl vs. Vampire Girl, Hell Driver. Yeah, he is an incredible director, and I think that having him direct anything is a winner for me. And then writer, people might have seen this one coming. I'm gonna go with Sam Raimi. I love Sam Raimi. I love his storytelling. I think that those two coming together on a movie would be insane. And then for the lead, right? We're going lead villain. This is what I would like to see. Of course, everyone probably already knows what I'm gonna say. Bruce Campbell.
For the
Playing
villain.
For the villain. Now, wouldn't that be something?
That'd be an interesting twist. He never plays those roles, really.
I know, exactly. That's why it would be so good. The closest we got was what? Evil Ash, you know?
Yeah.
And so I would love to see that. And then composer, all right? For my music taste, I'm going to go with Goblin. They did the score for Suspiria and a bunch of other Italian films, but man, their sound is awesome. And I would love that. And then settings, we got to go obviously 1980 suburbia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just have to. And that's where I'm at. And then for the special effects, we're going to go back to the same director with Yoshihiro Nishimura again, because he does all the special effects in those movies that he directs as well. So from Machine Girl to Zombie Ass, Toilet of the Dead, like all these movies
Toilet
are...
of the Dead.
If you've not seen that movie, if you've not seen Zombie Ass, please go watch it. Tapeworms taking over people. They crawl on all fours backwards and the tapeworms hang out of their asses and control them. It is so over the top, but so good. So yeah, that's my dream team right there.
Damn, I almost chose Goblins too, because their sound is so eerie, clean, and it just takes you to a different world. It's so good.
Interdimensional sound waves.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it for sure. Sam Raimi, I could see that. Yeah, what kind of movie would that be? I mean, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are already.
Oh, it would be a splatter film. It would. Them, Sam Raimi, Yoshihiro, they both are splatter artists, so that's 100% where it would go. And like I said, interdimensionally with that Goblin soundtrack going on, oh dude, that'd be insane.
Yeah, I would see it. No, that would be a crazy film, especially in the 80s suburbia. That was part of my setting. That was what I started with, and I scratched it, and I was like, let's switch it up a little bit. Yeah, no, I would fuck with that. All right, so what I got going on,
here we go.
I kind of went back.
What you got?
So for director, I kind of struggled with this one. I actually surprisingly landed on Rob Zombie.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I just, he gets a lot of backlash for his movies, but at the end of the day, he's a great director.
Yeah.
The suspense and the grittiness, the way he makes films is just so good. Now, if you pair that with a writer of the likes of Tobe Hooper,
I already see where you're going.
You are in for a fucking
I know
classic.
where you're going, yo.
Yo, do you know? I got a curveball for you, because I think it should be composed by John Carpenter.
Yo, see, that's who I was going to pick for a composer, because I love his sound. All of his movies, not just his horror films, but like all of them are so good. He's so well placed with the sounds.
He's unique with it, very eccentric. The whole
yeah, he's just so good at capturing you into the movie with just the sounds. It's so good.
Right? Do you know how he came up with the melody for Halloween for Michael Myers? The din 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 din. It was a drum pattern that I think he said his dad taught him when he was younger. Like, you're supposed to play it on bongos, like, and he just changed that to a piano thing, and that's how he came up with it. Yeah,
I love those little backstories, those little tidbits of information of where things spawn.
Yeah. Okay. So moving forward with it, for the lead actor, villain, I got Bill Moseley. My boy.
That was up there for me too. It was either Bill, but then I was like, let's go with Bruce because that's something you never see. But yeah, Bill's a dude. Every role he has is so good. Have you seen Homesick? It's like a smaller independent film, right? Homesick. He's like a door-to-door salesman. You should check that out.
Yeah, I haven't checked. I haven't seen that. I don't even think I've heard of that one. I think my dog wants to come in and say what's up. He wants to join the podcast, so I gotta let
bring
him
on in.
Give me a second here. And we're back. My dog had to come and chill. I got him sitting next to me now, so he wanted to join the podcast. So now it's not only with Enokh, Xmortiz, and Ill Fortune, it is also with Brutus. So
yeah,
at least for this one. So I said, Rob Zombie to direct it, Tobe Hooper to write it, Bill Moseley as the lead villain, John Carpenter doing the music, and I would, the setting could be anything really, but I would love to see it take place mid-'80s during the fall, but in the city. Fun little twist on it.
There we go.
What kind of movie do you... It's like the possibilities.
Rob Zombie in the city is in itself a weird combination.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's never been done. He's never made like a movie in the cities that I can really think of,
Yeah, like even 31, you could be like, well, it's in these but it's like an abandoned factory in the middle of nowhere type thing.
And I'm talking like in apartment buildings, in alleyways, shit like that, that grimy.
Yeah, you're talking like New York kind of setting, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Basket case. Yeah.
But during the fall, so there's still some like, leaves blowing around the streets and shit like that, and with the kind of score John Carpenter could bring, it would be very 80s and retro, but it would have the grittiness that Tobe Hooper, Bill Moseley, and Rob Zombie can bring to a film.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I think that Bill Moseley is one of the best horror actors that there is, just because of the way that he can project his voice and do these weird pronunciations with characters. With Chop Top, with Otis. He's just great at portraying these roles, And
it kills me that spinoff of Texas Chainsaw 2 was never made. What was it called? An American Massacre?
The one about Chop Top?
Yeah, about Chop Top in prison and all that, and they like shot the movie or something, and then it just got lost or
never came out, man. Yeah.
Like, what?
There's actually a movie being made about how that movie never came out, because there's people that saw it. There's people that saw it somehow. At least from what I've heard.
To be in that inner circle, that's a chip on the shoulder that you just walk around at horror conventions with your chest puffed out like a, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Man.
I mean, I seen clips of it on YouTube, obviously. I don't think, it didn't look high production. It looked like very low budget, especially for the time. It was like extra low budget. I don't know if I would enjoy it. But if it was remade, like the concept of it was done nowadays professionally, that would be a fantastic movie.
Yeah, they still could. They still could bring that, and we would still watch it. Bill Moseley is here. He is ready. Like, I'm sure he will reprise that role.
You know what? Fuck like it. That's the premise of the Dream Team movie. They got to make a fucking origin story for fucking Chop Top.
Yes.
There it is.
He's like a Wall Street banker. Switches. Gets sent to Nam.
And special effects, forgot to say, in special effects, Tom Savini, obviously, it goes without saying.
Oh, yeah. Especially with that lineup that you have to put Tom in there.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man.
Welcome back to Rotten Rewind. And we're about to dive into my topic, renting versus streaming.
Whoop, whoop. Yep.
Yes.
That's a hot topic right there. I mean, kind of, not really, but maybe a little bit. No, we'll see. Yeah.
To me, it is, To me, it's a real touchy subject, man. It's real close to my heart. And I'm sure it is for a lot of people. But yeah, renting and streaming. So for me, like, going and renting a movie was just an outing. It was something... You know what I'm saying? It was like doing something. It was streaming just isn't for me. If I have the opportunity to watch something on DVD, physical media, or anything like that, I'm going to take that over streaming any day. I love the experience. And it kills me that my son, who is 4, won't ever get to experience that. Returning a movie, getting the movies to run up and put inside the little return slot.
You can direct them to the red box.
Yeah. Like, man, it's such a letdown.
No, I hear what you're saying, though. It was an experience. I know, I remember that shit. We had 2 movie stores in town. We had a movie gallery, and then we had one that was called Mr. Movies, which was the local one, which I preferred, really. And
the local ones always had the hidden gems.
Yeah, and I just loved going in there and just running to the horror section and just gawking at all the movies and just imagining what each one's about based on the cover, not even reading the back of most of them because I was so little, but like...
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Same here. That's how you did it, You just went in there and you just looked at the artwork, and that's what captivated you. And nowadays, it's like they don't put any effort into the artwork ever since streaming and everything has been, taken over. You don't have the people doing those hand painted covers anymore, because those were all like hand painted in the 80s and 90s. Amazing. Like, I don't think movie covers will ever reach that peak again, because that's just where it was.
Yeah, no, it's sad, man. It really is. And, streaming gives instant gratification, which makes you take for granted the films that you're watching. It's ridiculous. Yep. I mean, there's so much shit being shoved down our throat, too, that it's like you really don't have the same... It's just weird, you see all this shit, and it's easy to write everything off because you have so many options. You're not paying for these individual movies to view them. Yep. And the value of a movie is so low compared to how much goes into making one, not only financially, but all the effort that goes in by everybody involved.
Yeah,
just for 100%. Just for it to be watched for free on a streaming platform, or even rented for $3. Isn't that crazy? Yep. It's just blows my mind.
And even if you're renting it, it's not the same. It's not you and your buddies on a Friday. You ride your bikes up there, and you got a buddy who knows somebody who works there, so you can rent R-rated movies, and then you guys all get together. You got this VHS tape or DVD. It's almost like a ritual. To have this, even if it was a bad movie, you're still gonna find enjoyment out of it because of that. As to where now it's like, oh no, next.
And it's gotten even worse with the direct to streaming, where movies just skip the theaters. The big movies, they skip the theaters and they go right to streaming platforms.
Why they do that? I don't know. That
Money,
whole
man.
Halloween, like Peacock, no. And what's the other one? Paramount. They be doing that all the time too.
And that devalues the shit out of movies.
Yeah, they're usually not the best. That Pet Cemetery, Bloodlines.
I didn't watch it. I'm not gonna watch
horrendous.
it.
So bad. Yeah. It was so bad. I was like, yeah, that wouldn't have done good in theaters. And I feel like it takes away, I don't know, to be a director and getting your movies placed inside the rental shops and putting the effort into the cover because you knew that's what drew people in. It was almost like a friendly competition in that scene of physical media, and now it's not.
The posters are iconic, that's an iconic piece of the film. It's part of the experience, gawking at that cover and just imagining what it's gonna be before you actually watch it. Covers don't do that anymore. They don't draw the same kind of interest they used to. They're more of just they're like thumbnails trying to get you to click on something quick, not actually look at it.
That is 100% it. I'm sitting here trying to think of any movie I've seen lately that had a really cool poster, and I can't. Evil Dead Rise, maybe, but even that
cool
wasn't.
One.
Yeah, but it wasn't nothing compared to the originals.
I think there was some. Okay, so let's talk about some movie posters that we've seen recently that were good. I think Barbarian had a great movie cover. It reminded me of a 70s film. Do you remember that, where it was
with the steps?
Yeah, and then she's up at the top in the middle. That one was great.
Looked just like that movie from Italy. I Am a Vice and Your something is the key. I can't think of it. It was a really long name, but it had the same exact kind of cover with the stair set and the red. So I don't know if they got that from that, but it was almost identical.
Without even knowing that movie, it does have a very Italian aesthetic to it. You said Evil Dead Rise. That's a good one that had a great cover. I guess off the top of my head, those are the only ones that really pop up.
I've seen the poster for that new Toxic Avenger, and I'm real disappointed.
Really? I haven't seen the poster for it.
It's literally just like an all green. It has like this little like Toxic Avenger little cartoon like smiley face thing, and like that's it.
Oh,
like
that
real
one,
real minimal. And I'm like, no, dude.
I don't think that's the official one. That's probably just like a teaser one.
I hope not, because that's not in the art of Troma to just be minimal. You know?
Did you watch the trailer for it yet?
Yeah.
I liked the trailer. There was some definite Troma vibes going on there.
Me too. I think Peter Dinklage is playing the Toxic Avenger, which is very strange. We'll see how that pans out.
We'll save this conversation for when the movie drops, and then we'll get it going. Yeah, that one's definitely something we both want to chat about. But yeah, renting versus streaming. You know what else kind of like blows my mind a little bit is I mentioned the pricing of movies and stuff, but have you noticed that it's kind of stayed the same for a rental price? It's like $3. I mean, that's probably more than it was back in the 80s, 90s, obviously, but like, as far as I can remember from the early 2000s, it's been about $3-4 to rent a movie, roughly.
Yeah, it's like the only thing not hit by inflation.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the Hollywood industry. I wonder if that's by design.
Yeah.
Illuminati.
Something. Illuminati confirmed for sure. But yeah, also like having the physical media, I love the fact that if I want to get into them special features, I can dig. And I can see production, and I can see interviews, and I can, they don't offer any of that stuff on streaming services.
No, exactly. I mean, that also ties into buying too. Like I would say buying is supreme over renting and streaming, obviously.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And you get all those bonus features, special features, the behind the scenes shit that you're talking about, deleted scenes.
Sometimes you get some early, like I bought this Cronenberg film. Forgot what I can't think of the name, but it also came with 2 of his early works on the disc and the bonus features. So 2 extra movies that Cronenberg never released individually. So they're just like there's a part of it. That's the only way to get it was on this DVD. Like what? That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's why it's good to own. I mean, did you see the new movie that just came out? It wasn't like really a horror movie. Actually, I think it was a couple of years ago. I think Obama had something to do with making it, and it was like apocalyptic, something like that. It was apocalyptic and shit. And the only takeaway I got from that boring ass movie was the very end scene, because the whole movie there's a little girl in it, and she's like wanting to watch her show, right? And at the very end, she discovers the dude's DVD collection, and then she fucking grabs the Friends DVD and puts it in and starts watching Friends. And I'm like, that's the fucking message right there, is that DVDs are supreme, especially in the fucking apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be like a currency, dude. You could probably fucking trade a DVD to somebody if they have a DVD player and fucking get like 50 pounds of food or some shit,
I'll charge people 1 piece of fruit to come and watch a movie on Fridays.
Yeah, there you go.
Here you go. Bring an apple and get 1 admission ticket.
Apocalyptic drive-in theater in the apocalypse. Yep, that's the way to go. Yep. That's a dream right there. Oh God.
I always wanted to work at a theater so I could just watch my DVDs and hook up a DVD player. So I was watch some of them old films in theater again. Like Dead Alive or Toxic Avenger.
Dude, so we got the Twin Ports Horror Society. Shout out to you guys, TPHS in Duluth, Minnesota. It is a horror collective, and the guy who runs it, Corey, he does these double features at this theater that we got in town. It's like an old school type of cinema. They call it the Cinema. Awesome. And yeah, he'll sell tickets to the members that are super reasonable and everything, and then we all go and we watch like old horror movies. I think coming up we got Reanimator or something. Yeah, and it's just always called classics.
One of my favorites. I love it.
Yeah, I got to see, I think, Creepshow there. I got to see Tales from the Dark Side, the movie there. Countless other ones, man. And it's just so cool, like you're saying, to get to be able to see these old movies on the big screen, and especially in a vintage, kind of more old school type of theater setting with people that love horror movies, It's just...
so you got people talking throughout the whole thing and all, Yeah. That's one thing. I can't. I be getting mad when I go see a movie I want to see, and then, it's like, dog.
Yeah, I can't stand that shit. I like when people are engaging with it, like something happens and people are cheering or booing or screaming, whatever, laughing.
Yeah.
That's the best part about theaters, is just the physical interaction with people around you. Like, you feel like you're part of it, and especially when you're in a good theater with a good crowd, because not every crowd is good. I've seen plenty of good horror movies that had a shitty crowd, but I've also seen some that they're just explosive when something happens, and it's fucking awesome, dude. And it's infectious because like when people start doing it, then everybody else feels more comfortable doing it, letting out their reactions and emotions.
The atmosphere changes and everyone can participate freely. 100%. I love that. But like when I went to see The Exorcist, they had like the 45th year anniversary, and I go in there and I'm the youngest guy in there, and I'm like, oh wow, there's like 7 people in there, and it's all older folks who probably seen it when it first came out. And that's how the atmosphere was. Everyone was involved and they were loving it, and they were there because they actually wanted to see the film, not just as a random outing and they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so the theater in Duluth is actually pretty big. They got several theaters in that city, but the main one is pretty big, and they get some big crowds for their movies. But in contrast, going to one in my hometown, Grand Rapids, the theater here is always dead, man. Most of the time, it's a private screening. You get to see the movie with just you and whoever you brought with, nobody else in there.
I got one of those too.
Yeah, and then you just be as loud as you fucking want to.
Yeah, we got one that's like ran down. Nobody ever goes to it. It's like the concession stand is like so cheap.
Ours
cheap.
isn't. Ours is fucking expensive still, man.
For
it's
real?
like $9 for a slushie and like $12 for some popcorn.
Small popcorn. $9 here will get you the movie ticket, a large popcorn, and a large drink.
All right, we are back to talk about movies. Specifically, we're going with one that was chosen by Enokh, and this is a classic. And if you haven't seen this, if you haven't heard of this, you shouldn't even call yourself a horror fan. No,
that's right. I'm sure every person who is tuning in has heard of this movie, has seen this movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Good luck finding it on streaming services, but it's out there. Cannibal Holocaust.
Whoa.
Let's dive into the legend itself.
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust. There's a lot of controversy around this movie. I think that's underselling it, I would say.
Yep. There's a lot going on with this film. So, and I'm sure most of you guys know about dudes going into the Amazon, making a documentary on the tribe, end up getting taken by the tribe, eaten by the tribe, typical Amazonian style. But what I really want to talk about is the controversies and things along the way with this film. So, when the director had filmed it and he had released it, 10 days after he released the film, he gets arrested, right? And charged with murder. Which is so crazy to think about, but this is what, 1979 or something around there, I want to say. And so, yeah, they never seen anything like that. So the government arrests him, and he is forced to bring every actor into the court and prove that he didn't actually murder anybody, which is insane.
Now, there's more to it, though. I don't know if you knew this. Well, my dog is just trying to beat my door down. So the extra bit to that is that he had the actors go into hiding for 6 months leading up to the release. So he had people actually thinking that they were dead, their loved ones, their friends, family, reporting them missing and stuff. That's what led to him getting arrested.
That's even better. That is a genius marketing, dude.
And they had everybody believing that the film was real, too. That was the whole point. It was sold as a found footage film, probably one of the first, if I had to, really think of like the earliest footage film. It's got to be that one,
It's got to be. I can't think of anything that came before that. That has to be it.
Yeah, and so just diving into the whole concept of it, if you haven't seen it, it's a cannibal movie, obviously. Not much of a Holocaust, thank God. It basically is about this film team that goes to a set of islands that have cannibal tribes on them, right? And this film team, they're assholes. They're all dicks. And they're just like taking advantage of the whole situation. They're fucking with the tribes because they got guns and shit. And they're being complete and utter dicks to these people.
They deserved it.
Yeah, they're killing their animals. They're setting fire to their houses. I think at one point, didn't they like gather a bunch of like the women up into one of the houses and then set it on fire?
Yeah, yep.
Just straight up murdered them for no reason, just to be assholes, and they're like younger guys too. So they're
like setting stuff up just to film shock value. It's Yeah, they get what they deserve for sure.
Yeah.
And
they get to a tribe that doesn't play around eventually, and this tribe is like, no, not gonna happen. You guys are in the wrong fucking place. Yep, exactly.
Now, see, in Cannibal the Musical, here I go again. Cannibal Holocaust. The name of the documentary that they're making is called The Green Inferno, which you guys might have noticed.
Is another movie.
Yep. Eli Roth, he went and made The Green Inferno, which is his love letter to Cannibal. Here I go again. Cannibal Holocaust. Yep. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. As soon as I seen him release Green Inferno, I had already knew. Like I was like, oh, that's awesome. Nice little Easter egg.
No, I own that movie, but I have yet to watch it because I'm not super into the whole cannibal tribe movies. You know, they're a different type of horror.
It is great. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Cannibal Fear Rocks is okay, but Eaten Alive and, you start Mountain of the Cannibal God and, it goes on and on. There's a lot of those cannibal movies that came out. There's actually 6 unofficial sequels to Cannibal Holocaust. There's like one that came out in Argentina, 2 that came out in Japan. Which is like, what? But yeah, so definitely check out Green Inferno.
So do you know... So the scene where the girl is like impaled, like she's naked up on that pole that goes right through her mouth? You know how they did that scene?
Yeah, she was. So when they had the pole, they had attached a bicycle seat for her to sit on.
And they had the other pole sitting in her mouth. Yeah.
Yep. Now here's something that's crazy. That girl who got stuffed with mud. Remember that?
On the beach. That's like the worst scene of the whole movie.
They couldn't find a local who was comfortable to do that scene.
Oh, let me grab my pup.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Get your ass in here. Can't decide if he wants to be in or out.
So with that mud stuffing scene, the actress there, they couldn't find a local who was willing to do that scene, so they had to have a cast member. So the lady who is getting all that happen to her is actually the head of the wardrobe department for the movie.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yup. I was like, wow.
They better have paid her well. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, I would. So whenever I show that movie to somebody new, it's like, that's the one scene that I'm cringing through, and I'm just like, God, this is like, I wish I could just fast forward to this part,
Yeah, because you're like, hey, check out this movie, and then
they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
My little brother, I told him about this movie for years, man, years before I finally showed it to him, and he had to beg me to show it to him because I was like, you're not ready, man. You got to be older, because he was like 12, 13. And I was showing him a lot of other classics, and this is what I just mentioned, because I had a poster of it on my wall, I think, that's what brought it up. And I was like, no, man, you got to be like 17 before I even think about showing you that movie, because you got to be more like mentally mature to watch a movie like that, because they're killing animals in it too.
I was just going to get to that point. And it's all real. Those are all real animal deaths. And I'm not a fan of that.
No, it's horrible.
That's what turns me off of the cannibal movies, because they all do it. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why do you have to cut that turtle? Why do you have to quarter that turtle?
That's like traumatizing, man. Yeah, it's not good.
The director didn't even want to use that monkey in that monkey eating brain scene, but the locals were like, no, we got to use a real monkey because we're actually going to eat that. Like, they actually ate that monkey brain because it's a delicacy there. So they're like, we're not going to fake it. We're going to just do it because it's what we do anyways.
I wonder if eating a monkey brain makes you go crazy, because like I hear that eating a human brain can make you go crazy. So like primates aren't too far off of humans, they say. So
yeah, I mean, you just watch the movie. I mean, the people who are eating the monkey brains, they're pretty crazy if you ask me.
Maybe that's why. I mean, obviously that's why cannibals are crazy, is because they eat humans. It fucks up the way they think and their rationale and all that shit. There's a whole science behind it.
Yeah, insane. Those animals. I mean, dude, the snake. The pig. It's almost unbearable to watch those scenes. I'm just not into that. Like, you can do whatever you want to the humans, whatever. But man, the animal, you gonna kill a turtle? No.
Yeah. Leave that little pig alone.
Exactly. I remember I think it's Cannibal Fear Rocks or Mountain of the Cannibal God, one of the two, where they had this monkey tied to a rope, around his waist, and then they have an anaconda coming after this monkey, and they have him like how you put a dog outside on one of them tethers, like posted to the ground. Yeah. And this monkey's like screaming and trying to get away, and it's like film this anaconda come up and just attack this monkey. And I'm like, dude, no, not with it.
I don't fuck with shit like that. See, movies kind of like that, and Cannibal Holocaust falls under the umbrella of movies that kind of do shit for shock value. Like you say, it's the kind of movie that you show your friends when you're like 18 years old or 17. You're like, look at this fucked up movie I got. You're not going to believe this shit.
Yep,
and they watch it and they're just like, oh, this is fucking gnarly. And then they feel super edgy because they just watched a really fucked up film.
Yeah, it holds no actual longevity of value. It's like, you just watch it when you're young because it's something you're like, oh, and then now I like look back and I'm like, yeah, I would never watch that again. There's a very slim chance that I will dive into it again. And not necessarily Cannibal Holocaust, but some of them,
yeah. It's
because I like
it's definitely one of those movies that is more famous because of the story behind it, with the controversy of the director and shit like that.
Yeah, like the movies, like if we're talking like in terms of like greatness, I don't think the movie's necessarily a great movie.
Not at all.
Yeah, it's not a great film, but I think, like you said, it's more of the legacy of it, the legend, the urban myths that surround it, It's labeled as like the most disturbing film of all time. In my opinion, that's not true. But
no, not at all.
Not at all. Let's get rid of it now. Like psychologically disturbing movies, I prefer that have the brutality, like Martyrs.
Mm-hmm.
Martyrs is my favorite. I love that movie. I think that's one of the that to me is disturbing, and it has that longevity that movies like this are missing. Because I could watch that movie in 20 years and it'd still hold that same value.
That's one of those special movies that you show to someone who wants to watch a good horror movie. That's one you pull off the shelf. You're like, you gotta see this fucking movie,
100%. I was lucky enough to find the unrated version on DVD, which if you ever try to hunt that movie down, that it is so hard to get, because if you get the rated version, they cut so much of it, it's not worth it. You get that remake they did in 2015, and then you're like, that's garbage. You got to get the unrated one. Oh, man.
Was that a perfectly timed fart? You're just like, you got it like one in the chamber, and you're like, it's such a movie. No, but speaking of movies that are hard to come by, Cannibal Holocaust, that was part of the lore too, is that it was impossible to get a copy of the fucking thing. My uncle, his copy cost $500, and it was a burned disc because they weren't manufacturing it like that, It was like, I don't even know if they even ever did manufacture it, like legit print discs of it and sell it. I think it was just like, you had to know somebody to get a copy, and it was, 500 some bucks, sometimes 1,000.
Cannibal?
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust. Yeah, and this is, back like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because like the first time I seen it was probably like a little less than 15 years ago, right? And streaming wasn't as prominent. It was just, barely a thing. I don't even know if it was a thing. I mean, what was 15 years ago? 2009? Yeah, I don't even know if it was out yet. And that's when my uncle showed me this fucking movie, and he had it in like a clear case, and it was just like a blank disc that had no graphic on it. And we watched it, and that shit was fucked. And then he told me the story, the same thing that we just talked about with the controversy of the director. And he told me how he got it and how much it cost and all that shit, and it was just nuts. And then fast forward a couple years later, and now you can buy it on DVD, and it's out on streaming.
Grindhouse done released that. But see, that's another thing with the streaming and the physical. You can't be that cool dude anymore. You know what I'm saying? You're like, yeah, look what I got. And everyone's like, no way. You like show up at your buddy's house for the weekend. You're like, dude, look. Like, where'd you get that? Like, that feeling is so cool, especially when you're young. You're like 14 and you got this, you got the Prowler, and what? Like, things like that. And it's just, kids aren't going to experience that anymore. It's sad.
No, but kids are weird nowadays,
Oh, yeah.
Like,
they want to...
We're talking to each other. We're talking to people like us at this point, I don't even care about pandering to fucking kids, But if there's like a young kid like my little brother is a good example. If you have a young kid that can appreciate horror for what it is and gets excited about it, that's fucking dope. Respect to that kid, because they grew up way past all the bullshit and like in a later time. So for them to be going backwards and digging up these artifacts, these classic films, and appreciating them is fucking awesome. It warms my heart, you know? So there are kids like that out there. They're very few and in between though, but there's kids that appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of how I felt growing up. I mean, even in like my adult friend group, you know, I am the guy who they all know. If you want to see a movie, you just come to me and I'll show you something, you know? Mm-hmm. And like growing up, it wasn't like I had a group of friends who were super indulged into the horror besides my little brother. You know, my little brother was like, yes. So, you know, same kind of thing. I was so heavily into it because of my parents. But then I would like go to school and all the kids are talking about superheroes. I'm like, but what about Jason Voorhees? You know, and they're all like, what?
Yeah.
It took me a while to realize that other kids weren't allowed to watch the stuff that my mom was like, oh yeah, 6 years old. She's like gave me a box set of VHS tapes of all the Freddy's, you know, like my mom was down.
That's fucking dope,
I just thought that, you know, I thought it was just all kids were, nope. And I was like, oh, it was kind of a shocker when I went to school and no one was like, you ain't seen Chucky? You guys don't know what that is?
Damn. Yeah, I mean, like my mom was never into that stuff. My dad was into Halloween, but he wasn't into horror. You know what I mean? Like he loved Halloween, but he doesn't like horror movies. Like he'll watch horror movies, but he's not like obsessed with them like a true horror head is. But my uncle, he's the one that's obsessed, and he's the one where he was that guy for me that was giving me recommendations on what to watch. And he's like, I got to show you this new film, you know? And even on the Juggalo side, you know, he's the one that got me into ICP and the horrorcore music. You know, I got him to thank for that. So like he was my inspiration growing up in terms of the horror scene of society, you know?
Yeah.
So it's nice that we have people like that.
Yeah, and I love the feeling of having someone that you can share that with. Like when you discover something, you're like, dude, oh my God, Jack, you have to see this, you know? Like that to me is what I love about the horror is, you know, it's not like you can do that with any, maybe sci-fi a little bit, but you can't be like, dude, you got to see this new drama. You got to see this new drama. It's so good. That's just not going to, no.
Oh, God, I would smack someone if they came up to me and said that. Get the fuck out of my face.
What are you talking about? Welcome back. I'm sitting here with Ill Fortune. I'm Enokh Xmortiz, and we are the Ride and Rewind.
Ride and Rewind.
And we are going to review a newer movie. Ill Fortune recommended this one. You want to say the name there?
Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
Yeah, this all one. Right. Ooh, I got some fun stuff to talk about. So this is our review. So like the last one, we're going to start it out with a spoiler-free discussion. And then we're going to let you guys know right before we start spoiling everything and talking about all the juicy shit. So,
yes.
Right off the bat, it is obviously a movie about Christmas. No, it's a movie about Thanksgiving, Turkey Day. I mean, first thoughts, you wouldn't think that it's going to be a very good movie because sometimes holiday movies aren't very good.
Holiday movies do not have the best track record.
No, especially in the horror community. Like, I can't think of a single Christmas horror movie that I genuinely like. I know that there's some classic ones, but I personally hate them all.
Christmas Evil's okay, kinda, you know.
Nah, but this one, you don't even like realize that it's about Thanksgiving, even though there's so many undertones and themes throughout the movie. You really don't.
Thanksgiving. It's more just like the decorative side of things, almost.
Mm-hmm. And it really does a great job at resurrecting slashers more, and I love that more films are doing it in a very unique way where they're able to kind of do something original, but make you feel like you've never seen it before. Because
yeah, exactly. An original flavor, but innovating. You know, I like that. I like that a lot.
So a little bit of backstory behind this movie, and I didn't even know this until after I watched it, but when there was a double feature with Planet Terror and the other movie Death Proof that played at the same time, you probably know this. There, between the double feature at the movie theater, there was fake commercials that would play, fake trailers for movies. One of those movies was Machete, which later on went to be made into a real movie starring Danny Trejo. But another one of those movies was Thanksgiving, right? So now fast forward like 15 plus years later, someone's like, fuck it, let's make that fucking movie, right? So the original trailer had a grindhouse vibe to it. It looked very 70s, 80s with the slasher vibes, very gritty. So the new movie doesn't follow that formula. It's not gritty, it's not grindhouse. It's very well produced. I'll give it that. It's beautifully done. But they do just such a great job at recreating what was on the trailer and making this new, like using those scenes, those fake movie scenes from that commercial and bringing them back and reenacting them in this new movie and adding more to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on it, man?
So, I thought that it was actually really good. I mean, to an extent, there was some, we'll dive into that a little bit, but I thought it was great. I love like you said, the revival of this, classic slasher, but them kills were so creative. And, that's what really sold me. And the practical effects, I'm a sucker for that, and I'm glad that that's the route they took. Because if they were to just CGI it up, it would have just been another, it wouldn't have been nothing that stuck with me. But going into it, I was kind of blind to it as well. Only thing that I knew was that Roth had some kind of tie to it. I had heard something about that. I don't know if he was a producer or, because I don't even know who directed that off the top of my head.
It might have been him.
It might have been. So that's all I knew when I went into it. So I was already expecting, okay, awesome. Troma alumni, Hostel, Cabin Fever, let's go. And right from the beginning, the first 15 minutes, I was like, sold. I was in it. Let's go. I thought it was great. I think it really captured the essence of what I was after for a slasher.
So upon rewatching it for me, because I just watched it this week again for the second time now, out of theaters, and movies always just have a different feel when you watch them like in a living room for the first time. Like you watch it at the theater and it's a whole experience like we talked about. And then you go back and you watch it in your living room and it just feels different. It doesn't feel as spectacular. Certain scenes don't hit the same way, and it's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
But upon rewatching it a second time, I noticed a couple things throughout it. It definitely, certain scenes gave me certain vibes, right? And those vibes reminded me of certain movies. So that varied from Halloween, Michael Myers, right? And then it had Scream, Ghostface type vibes. Then it would have like Saw type vibes. And then kind of like Texas Chainsaw, but also kind of Final Destination, right? So it kind of has like all 5 of these different like reminiscent type of scenes playing out in the movie that just remind you of these other movies, but they're like, it's done differently, right?
Yeah.
And it's without spoiling anything.
It captures the essence of each of them to, I wonder if that was done on purpose in a way.
I think they were paying homage is what it was.
Yeah, exactly, yep.
And it wasn't noticeable the first watch, but on the second watch, I noticed all these things, and it felt so natural. That's how I didn't notice them, is because it was very well done. Everything transitioned very smoothly throughout the movie,
Yeah, nothing stood out as like a telltale sign of, this is a knockoff or rip-off of this. It's more like a very subtle play on a series.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of my favorite new movies. I'll watch it every year around the holiday. Now I got something to watch on Thanksgiving, All
right, let's dive into the spoilers now. So
yeah.
So back out now.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, pause this fucking podcast, go watch the movie, and then come back here and hear what we got to say. So
yes, getting
into it, what are your initial thoughts?
Now, going in, I was expecting a larger kill count. It only has 12, right? So it only has 12. I thought it'd be a lot more. But I'm not mad that it doesn't have more, Because the ones that it did have were pretty damn cool. Like, my favorite one is the scalping of the lady with the shopping cart. I love that.
Oh, yeah, in the beginning.
I love that. I like
the whole intro sequence of just the whole Black Friday thing gone wrong and people brutally dying.
Let's go. That dude getting his neck slit by the broken door.
Just like out of nowhere. You don't see that coming. But when the woman has her hair in the shopping cart and they're like pulling it away and it just kills the... Oh, it's so awesome.
I love that because it just shows the inhumanity of people and the greed of society. They're just like, I gotta get it. And this lady's just getting peeled back. So good. I love that.
And then you got the husband down there screaming for help. Somebody help me. Oh. She needs help. She needs help. And everybody's just fighting each other, not even caring.
Yep. No one cares. And they got to get them deals. And I love that. Like, that was so good.
That whole intro scene was a hell of a way to kick off a horror movie. Instantly, I was sucked in as soon as that happened.
As soon as I seen that, I seen it was practically done. You know, I was like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
That's all it takes to please me. I'm invested now.
The whole whodunit factor was pretty fun, too. Reminiscent of Scream, obviously. Who did you think it was before they revealed it?
The guy it was.
That's Sheriff?
That's my only thing with it. At a certain point in the movie, at about the halfway mark, when she's inside the police station for the first time, or they're discussing, I forget where, my mind had already went, maybe it's just from having experience in horror for as long as I have, that I was just like, it's that dude. That's who it is. And then it was. My girl's like, what? Like, she's like, how? I was like, well, I had a little experience in that.
I started with him. He was my pick at first, and then I changed it like halfway through the movie. I don't remember who I changed it to. I think I changed it to that one guy, the shitty boyfriend that was being kind of a dick, not Golden Arm, the other guy.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was going to be him, and then it ended up being the first dude I thought, and I was like, God damn it. I should have kept my fucking pick. That's part of the fun with those movies is trying to guess who it is.
It is, Another one that I loved was the trash can split in half. Where the car hits the trash can.
That's, I'm trying to remember which, like during the parade, you mean? Or was that during the parade?
I don't know, but the guy's like in the trash can halfway or whatever.
And then it comes down and, that's earlier in the movie,
Yeah, just because it's so outrageous that the lid would split him in half.
Yeah. No, there's a woman too. Yeah, she got.
Oh yeah, okay.
I was at the diners when that happened.
Yeah, that to me is like what?
So there's a level. There's a level of impracticality to some of the kills, but in a good '80s horror kind of way, where you just like, I don't care that that's not realistic.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch. I
prefer those. I prefer that honestly.
Yeah, same.
Like that pole coming through dude's face. In the truck.
That's the Final Destination reference that I was making,
that was beautiful.
I like towards the end of it when he's trying to cook the wife, and he does cook the wife, and is trying to get the husband to eat it. That's like the Texas Chainsaw reference, and it's just like, so fucking well done, man. That whole movie, just start to finish, is a great ride. It doesn't get boring. The casting is great. They did so many things right with that movie, and I hope we get more movies like that, because that was just out of nowhere. I didn't even know it was coming until it was there, and then instant classic.
definitely up there in the holiday horror for me. Like the slasher for sure, but like there's not many good holiday themed ones. Like I love April Fool's Day. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I really enjoyed that. I love the premise. I thought that was fucking, even though it's kind of like a giant ha-ha, but I like that, And Mother's Day, Mother's Day is technically a holiday film.
Technically, because of the name.
Because of the name, it's technically. If you ain't ever seen Mother's Day, go watch that. It's good.
I just watched it for the first time like a month ago. Yeah, I told you about that. Yeah, it's a good movie.
It is, right? It's good.
Mm-hmm. And I got that referral from In Search of Darkness. That's a great place to go to find new movies that you haven't heard of. New old movies, I should say.
Yep.
Old movies, but new to us if you haven't seen it. That's a Tom Savini quote. He said that it's not old if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, exactly. And I really hope that this right here kicks off, and because I don't know how successful it was in theaters, but hopefully it sent a message to Hollywood that this is what people want. We don't want your PG-13 thrillers. We don't want that. Like the horror fans, we need stuff like this to feed our appetites.
So speaking of PG-13 thrillers, because we talked about this last time, I forgot to bring this one up, and this was one that was surprisingly good for a PG-13 movie. The Boogeyman film that just came out. Did you watch it?
Mm-hmm. I'm a huge Stephen King fan.
Yeah, dude, it was so good. I thought, at least. I thought it was like creepy, had good suspense, not a lot of gore, but it didn't need it because it was just genuinely creepy in its own,
Yeah, I like the atmosphere. I thought it had great atmosphere. but I wasn't a fan of the CGI.
Well, yeah, that part sucked.
Yeah, like, I watch Stephen King movies all the time, and guess what? They're all practical.
I didn't think it was poorly done CGI personally. At least on my TV, it didn't look that bad. But yeah, practical would be better. It's always better to go practical with it. But that'd be a hard one.
Yeah, they would have did that. I would. Yeah.
But they could do it. They've done other crazier shit. Look at The Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah.
That was insane, And if we saw that in CGI first, people would go, well, I can't imagine doing that with practical effects. It wouldn't work. Well, it fucking could. That's the magic of it, It's all magic.
The Thing is the bar setter. You know what I'm saying? Like, not many films can surpass it or even match it. And it's very hard to hit that point.
Yeah.
But I love to see people try.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving, great movie. You guys got to check it out. Definitely worth the watch. And you can watch it on, I think, Netflix, or is it Peacock?
Netflix has it. Yep. They have it up. I seen it last night.
Yep. No doubt. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of Rotten Rewind. I think we definitely covered some good ground on this one.
Yes, definitely.
Well, we will see you guys again very soon. You got any last words, Enokh, before you rest in peace?
No, that's about it. We'll catch you guys next time. Much love.
Yep.
Much hate.
All right. Peace out, y'all.